Nietzsche has this thought experiment called eternal recurrence, where you get to relive your whole life over and over and over and over. And I think it's a way to bring to the surface of your mind the idea that every single moment in your life matters. It intensely matters, the bad and the good. And he kind of wants you to imagine that idea that every single decision you make throughout your life, you repeat over and over and over. And he wants you to respond to that. Do you feel horrible about that, or do you feel good about that? And you have to think through this
Right.
idea in order to see where you stand in life. What is your relationship like with life? I actually want to read the way he first introduces that concept for people who are not familiar. What if some day or night a demon, by the way, he has a demon introduce this thought experiment. What if some day or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, quote, "This life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more, and there will be nothing new in it. But every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unutterably small and great in your life will have to return to you, all in the same succession and sequence. Would you not throw yourself down and gnash your teeth and curse the demon who spoke thus? Or have you once experienced a tremendous moment when you would have answered him, 'You are a god, and never have I heard anything more divine'?" So, are you terrified or excited by such a thought experiment when you apply it to your own life?
Excited.
Excited.
Oh,
Even the dark stuff.
oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. I mean, also that thing you're talking about, he kind of leaves out, maybe on purpose because the thought experiment starts falling apart a little bit,
Yeah.
the amnesia between each loop. So the whole thing gets wiped. Now, if the amnesia wasn't there and yet somehow you were witnessing the non-autonomy implicit in what he's talking about, so you have to kind of watch yourself go through this rotten loop, then yeah, that's a description
There's
of
probably a
hell.
boredom that comes into that. So you don't experience everything anew. So
Exactly.
the bad stuff, the good stuff, the newness of it is really important.
That's it. Yeah. This is the in Hades, when you die, you there's a river. I think it's called Lethe. You ever heard of this? Lethe. You drink from it and you don't remember your past lives. And then when you're reborn, it's fresh and you don't have to. I mean, just think of like the amount of psychological help you would need to get over all the bullshit that happened in prior lives. You know, can you imagine if you're still resentful of something someone did to you in the 14th century? But it would compound. So
Well, if you repeat the same thing over and over and over, there would be no difference. Maybe you would start to appreciate the nuances more. Like when you watch the same movie over and over and over,
yeah,
maybe you'll get to actually um, let go of this idea of all the positive possibilities that lay before you, but actually enjoy the moment much more. If you
right.
remember that you've lived this life 1,000 times, all the little things, the way somebody smiles, if you've been abused, the way somebody, like the pain of it,
Yeah,
the suffering, the down that you feel, the experience of sadness, depression, fear, all that kind of stuff. You get to really,
yeah,
you get to also appreciate that that's part of life. That's
yeah.
part of being alive.
Now, also in his experiment, if I was gonna, and I love the experiment from the perspective of like just where technology is now and simulation theory and stuff like that. But in that thought experiment, if this rotten demon immediately killed you, then within that, it's a little more horrifying because even in the first of all, you're trusting a fucking demon.
Why are you talking to a demon? Let's
Yeah,
start there.
yeah, that because that is gonna be even before I get into, like, the metaphysics and,
Yeah.
like, the implications and where is this life stored? Where's the loop stored? I mean, are we talking about some kind of unchanging data set or something? Before that, you're like, "Why is there a fucking talking demon in my
Yeah.
room trying to freak me out?" You're gonna wanna autopsy the demon. Can you catch it? Does this apply to you, demon? And again, obviously, it's a fucking thought experiment. Nietzsche would be annoyed by me, but I think, like, you would still be able to entertain the joy. You'd have the joy of not knowing what's around the corner. Still, it's not like you know what's coming just because the demon said it's some kind of loop. In other words, the idea of being damned to your past decisions, it doesn't even work because you can't remember what decisions you're about to make.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, also, I think I'd be happy about it, or I would just think, oh, cool. I mean, it's a good story. I'm going to tell people about how this.
I wonder what the demon would actually look like in real life, because I suspect it would look like a charming, like a friend. Wouldn't they be a loved one? Wouldn't the demon come to you through the mechanism, through the front door of love, not through the back door of evil, like
Sure.
malevolent manipulation?
Sure. I mean, if it's the truth, if
Yeah.
it's the truth, then that's whether it's love or not, it's still good fundamentally.
I do like the idea of the memory replay. I remember I went to a Neuralink event a few years ago and got to hang out with Elon. I remember how visceral it is that there's like a pig with a Neuralink in it, and you're talking about memory replays as a future, maybe far future possibility, and you realize, well, this is a very meaningful moment in my life. This could be a replay.
Yeah.
Like, of all the things you replay, it's probably, there's certain magical moments in your life, whatever it is, certain people you've met for the first time, or certain things you've done for the first time with certain people, or not, just an awesome thing you did. And I remember just saying to him, like, I would probably want to replay this moment. And
Yep.
it just seemed very kind of, I mean, there's a recursive nature to it, but it seemed very real that this is something we would want to do. That the richness of life could be experienced through the replay. That's probably where it's experienced the most. Like, you could see life as a way to collect a bunch of cool memories, and then you get to sit back in your nice VR headset and replay the cool ones.
That's right. This is in Buddhism, the idea that like I struggle with is that there's a possibility of not reincarnating, of not coming back.
Right.
That's the idea. Like this is suffering here. The suffering is caused by attachment. And so if you like revise the idea of reincarnation or the Nietzsche's loop and look at it from, could this be possible, or how would this be possible technologically? Then to me, it makes a lot of sense. Like I've been thinking a lot about this very thing and Nietzsche's idea connecting to it. I had this like, it sounds so dumb, but I was at the dentist getting nitrous oxide,
Mhm.
high as a fucking kite, man.
Yeah.
And I had this idea. I was thinking about data. I was thinking like, man, probably if I had to bet, there's some energetic form that we're not aware of that for an super advanced technology would be as detectable as like starlight, but something that we just don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Quantum turbulence, who the fuck knows? Fill in the blank, whatever that X may be. But assuming that exists, that somehow data, even the most subtle things, the tiniest movements, whatever it may be, the emanations of your neurological process energetically, whatever it may be, is radiating out into space-time, then what if like the James Webb version of this for some advanced civilization is not that they're like looking at the nebula or whatever, but they're actually able to peer into the past and via some bizarre technology recreate whatever life, simulate whatever life was happening there just by decoding that quantum energy, whatever it is. I'm only saying quantum because it's what dumb people say when they don't know. You just say quantum. I don't know. But you know what I mean? You're decoding that. So meaning, in simulation theory, one of the big questions that pops up is why and are we in one? And Elon has talked about, well, it's probably more of a probability than we're in one than we're not. In which case, what you're talking about is actually happening.
Yeah.
That loop you're talking about, we've decided to be here. This of all the things, we decided this one. Well, let's do that one again. I want to do that one. Let's do that. I love thinking about this because I love my family.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me that if I'm going to replay some life or another, it's definitely going to be this one with my kids, my wife, with all the bullshit that's gone along with it. I'm still going to want to come back. So in Buddhism, that's attachment.
Yeah, but you weren't the one. Oh, you're saying that you're the main player. You're not the NPC.
Well, I think we're dealing with all NPCs at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how you want to, I would say very advanced NPCs, like incredibly advanced NPCs compared to Fallout or something. You know, we've got a lot of conversation options happening here. There's not just like 4 things you can pick from.
Yeah,
But
there's a whole illusion of free will that's happening. We really do, depending where you are in the world, feel like you're free to decide any trajectory in your life that you want.
which is pretty funny, right?
For an NPC, it's nice.